So what's up, everybody? I hope everybody is doing well. So for today's session of ballistics, we're going to be looking at odd numbers in street photography, in particular where there's three elements or subjects within the frame. And for those of you unfamiliar with ballistics, the idea behind these sessions is that I look at my own street photography and the works of other photographers and determine what about the photos make them good. So let's jump in. So for this first photo, I actually shot this in Havana, Cuba, back in 2019. And right away you can see the three subjects. So play on numbers. And there's also two palm trees in the background. Again, play on numbers. And it's definitely odd numbers with the three main subjects, these three students. And you know, there's just something interesting in photos where you have three subjects. Something about it draws the eye of the viewer into the photo. It makes it more interesting. I think we're naturally drawn to symmetry, and when that symmetry is off, as is the case when you have an odd number of main subjects or main elements in a frame, such as this photo, I think it can make it more interesting and it can really draw the viewer in. And in this case, these kids are actually sitting on, I think it's like the equivalent of the Capitol building in the US, except it's in Havana. And I just really like the shape that they're creating. I love the angles that are happening here and these leading lines and everything. I love all the little textures and details. I love their facial expressions and their body language. And you know, it kind of tells a little story. Maybe they're off of school and they're just kind of hanging out. It's a hot day and they're chilling in the shade. You know, whatever. You could dive into it all you want, but I think it's a great photo. So moving on to the next photo, I actually shot this in Japan in 2012. I believe it was at Mount Koyasan, which is a sacred mountain, and I think it's in the Kansai area of Japan. And this one, very obviously the main subjects are here, which are these three monks, and again, odd numbers, which again is interesting and draws the eye. And there's also a lot more other play on numbers here because you have the two sandals and then you have the four lanterns. So you got 4, 3, 2, and there's also, you know, framing, sub-framing happening here as well. And it's also just a really cool moment. Some nice textures and color. And it's just one of my favorite shots. And I think, again, what makes this so strong is the odd number of main subjects here with the 3 and the play on numbers and the rest of the frame. Nice stuff. So our third and final frame for the day, I actually shot this in Penang, Malaysia. It was back in 2014. Penang is a small island off of the west coast of Malaysia. And obviously, again, you know, you have the 3 subjects, the center of the frame, similar to that last shot in Japan, and their backs are also turned. So again, play on numbers. The center of the frame, the main subjects are odd numbers, And I love how much contrast there is in this image, with the three guys pretty much being the only thing that's really saturated in the image and everything else is pretty muted. And then the story, I think, in this is pretty strong because these are actually more than likely migrant workers who are working in Malaysia. There's a lot of them in Malaysia and Singapore as well, who come over there on contracts that are a bit sketch, and they do sketchy work on construction and infrastructure and things like that. And these guys look like they're kind of lonely and they're missing home, and they're actually facing the direction of the Indian subcontinent, which is likely where they're from. Probably from India or Bangladesh, maybe Pakistan. And to me, they're like missing home, and you can see it in their body language. And again, just one of my favorite shots. And three dudes in the center definitely make the shot. So hopefully that examination of those three photos gave you an idea of why odd numbers work so well in photography and why we're so drawn to things that aren't quite symmetrical. And again, when you're out shooting, maybe you won't be looking for things that are completely symmetrical. Maybe things will be off frame, maybe things will be hidden. And again, you can play on those numbers, and in particular those odd numbers, to have some interesting compositions. So if you guys enjoyed that session of ballistics, and thank you for watching the video all the way through, and I will see you on the streets. Take care.